What's up, everybody? Joe Brown here. This is the Heresy Financial Show. I have Jorge Monroy, CEO of Reyna Silver, on with us today. We are talking about inflation, the strength in the gold and silver prices, and some very exciting news coming out of Reyna Silver right now. You guys know I'm trying to put the best companies in front of you right now. Jorge, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be on your show for the first time. Very good to be able to talk to you about these topics and great to be in touch with all your listeners.
Absolutely. Well, let's touch on what's happening right now. The inflation numbers just got released as of the time that we're recording this, and 8.5%. Absolutely crazy. We haven't seen inflation like this since 1981. What are your thoughts on what's going on with prices right now?
Yeah, it's really remarkable. It's remarkable. First of all, and I think most of your viewers who are watching this will agree with us that those numbers, while they're alarming, I think in reality they are much higher. And I'm sure in your show you've spoken about this topic ad nauseum. The way that the CPI is calculated. Before I think people didn't mind so much, but I think now you're really feeling it on your day to day. That inflation is a lot more than 8.5%. The one thing that, if anybody ever has a chance to do, that's a really interesting exercise, is do the calculate how much cash you have in your bank account, and then do the compound interest, like say over the next 5 years, and what happens to your cash at current interest levels. And the last time I did this exercise before the last numbers, I just did it at, I think I did it at 7%. Your money after 5 years really goes down something like 40%. So I think we're in really really worrying times, and we have never seen, at least in our lifetimes, this kind of inflation. And I've been in the gold and silver space, and I've been a believer for a long time. And there's sort of different reasons why you are in gold and silver, but I think now we're at the verge of having the mainstream really get behind gold and silver, because at the moment you really need to figure out how to protect the value of your money, of your wealth. And gold and silver have come up as really interesting asset classes to help us protect our wealth.
Yeah, I really like that exercise that you mentioned, because it highlights the fact that compounding interest works both ways. It works,
Exactly.
when you're trying to invest and make money, but it also works when you're losing money. And inflation is, in fact, losing money when you measure it by purchasing power. And the traditional wisdom of, hey, save, stay out of debt, have an emergency fund. You're going to have to be contributing more and more into your emergency fund, your savings account, your cash pool, just to break even, just to stay even, not even to get ahead. Whereas opposed to something like saving your money in gold and silver, you look back thousands of years, and over long periods of time, that purchasing power is preserved regardless of inflation or deflation, culture, country, government style, history. So really important to make sure that you're diversified for your savings.
No, absolutely. And that gold and silver, obviously there's a lot of debates, and I think a lot of people thinking, Bitcoin may be sort of the new safe haven instead of gold and silver. That's a very interesting thing to look into. My personal opinion on that topic is, I think that they serve similar purposes, roughly speaking. But I think Bitcoin is in no way a substitute for gold. But I think we are in going into the kind of market where they can live together. Let's put it that way. I think it's at the end of the day, moving away from traditional equities and more into hard assets. And then the equities of the exploration companies are quite an interesting, play a very interesting role in a precious metals portfolio. And that's what our company focuses on.
Well, let's talk about that. I have some questions for you specifically, but
Yeah.
give me an overview, because there are obviously many different types of miners out there, companies. So what does Reyna Silver do? What are you guys focused on?
No, absolutely. Look, there's something very interesting, specifically in the silver space, Joe. And what happens is over the last let's call it over the last 20 years, there has been very little money available for silver exploration.
Okay.
And the reality is that all the primary silver producers have had very little money available for exploration for new deposits. Really, what the market is looking for is a deposit that has at least 100 million ounces of silver and that can be put in production within the next couple of years. And the reality is that that simply does not exist. So what you have seen over the last couple of years, for those of you who follow the equities of the producers, you look at companies like First Majestic. They bought 2 gold mines over the last couple of years. And the reason they've done that is not because they don't believe in silver, is because, they're finally making money. They need to put that money to work to get more ounces on the ground. And when they look for silver ounces, they simply cannot find them. So that's the problem that our company seeks to address.
So I know that the industry is highly cyclical, but why is it that there has not been the capital, like you said a couple minutes ago, in order to go and do some of this? Why is it over the last couple of years that it's been this way?
Yeah, and so if you look at silver prices over the last, let's say, 20 years, silver, there was only that window in 2010 to 2012 where silver prices were high. Other than that, they've tended to be, silver producers have been producing at either break even or sometimes even at a loss. So the capital has simply not been there. Whereas, gold has been a little bit more steady in terms of the margin. So now we're finally at a point where, it's possible to make a good margin, with even with a lower grade silver deposit. But the focus of our company is, we're looking for silver projects that have the potential to make money under any market condition. So when you have silver grades above 300 grams per ton, and over a large number of tons, it allows you the possibility of being able to make money under any market condition, because silver is obviously very volatile. So
Right.
that's the main reason why you have so few discoveries, is just before the last 2 years there had been very little capital available. So it's over the last 2 years, companies like ours have been hard at work looking for for the next big silver deposit. And it takes an incredible amount of work and expertise and skills and some degree of luck as well to be able to find that project. For some reason, historically, Mexico is where you find the largest silver silver deposits. They're a little bit easier to find than in other countries because the Spanish were there for mining them for 500 years, and they didn't have the technology to go very deep. So what they did is they would mine the top of the system, and didn't have the technology to go any deeper. So exploration companies can come, and in essence, a lot of the early stage part of the exploration has already been done for you over 500 years of exploration. And our projects, we have 2 projects in Mexico and then 1 in Nevada. And Nevada, geologically very similar to Mexico, but quite a bit, ironically, not, especially for silver, a little bit underexplored.
And the thing about those historical sites is that not only did they not used to be able to go deep, but they also couldn't, they didn't have radar, sonar, lidar, anything like that to be able to
That's exactly right.
magnetic to find. And then even if they did, they needed a much higher grade, right? Because they didn't have the technology to pull the metal out of the rock.
Exactly.
So there's all of these things that now you're able to go back into these historic sites that there used to be really high grade there, and now you can pull the rest out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One great example is this morning. Some of you might have seen that we put out a news release about our Batopilas project, and that's a perfect example of what you just talked about, Joe.
Okay.
Batopilas produced 300 million ounces of silver, where the average grade was 1 kilo per ton. to give people a sense, right now the average rate of production in mines around the world is about 150 grams per ton. So this is, something like almost 10 times higher. Now the Batopilas is a historic mine that was put in production by an American entrepreneur back in the turn of the 1900s, and they hit a system of veins that was so rich that they produced at almost 20 kilos per ton over production of a couple of years. It's a really incredible project, and before we started with our exploration project 2 years ago, the project had very, very minimum work done in modern times. So what we've done is we found multiple extensions to the historic veins. So the production historic vein is an area of about 2 kilometers. We found extensions from surface and with drilling for almost 2.5 kilometers to the north of the property, and to the east and to the south. And this morning we released some very interesting results. We came to look for silver, and right next to where we had drilled very high grade silver last fall, we found a gold vein that has very high grade gold, mineable widths of really incredible grades.
Really?
And so it's a very exciting developing for the project. And the Batopilas project, historically the highest grade silver mine in the history of Mexico, and we're really trying to bring this former producer, but also the whole district. We have about 1,200 hectares surrounding the historic mine. So really looking for something that could be quite big. And this is our first exploration drill campaign at Batopilas. We're coming to the end of the first stage, so one that would be quite interesting for everybody to take a look at. And maybe one quick thing about Batopilas. There's a wonderful book that was written by the American gentleman who set up the original historic Batopilas mine. And if any of your viewers would like to have a copy, send me an email at Jorge@reynasilver.com. That's JORGE@reynasilver.com. You can
I'll
also
link it below as well.
info@reynasilver.com. Send me your address, and I will be very happy to send you a copy by mail, especially if you live in the US. It's quite easy for us to do.
Yeah, I'll link those emails below for anybody who's interested in getting a copy. And I have to. Is there any copper as well? Like, is this potentially a VMS deposit?
Yeah. So Batopilas is mostly silver, although now we found substantial gold. So we'll through further exploration campaigns, we will see what the ratio of silver to gold, but it's most likely going to be silver dominant. And then our other project is another historic district called Santa Eulalia. The project's called Gigi, and there we had a press release last week where we found a scar mineralization zone that's quite large. Here we're looking again for the potential for a large silver silver project. Essentially half of the district is missing, and we believe that with the exploration that we're doing right now, we're zeroing into the potential source for the whole district. And that project is again silver dominant. However, we did find lead zinc at incredibly high grades, and we did find copper as well. We found a copper zone that is that has very good mineralization. So silver oftentimes comes with byproducts, and our Gigi project has the potential to have some copper, but really the dominant element by far in all our projects would be silver.
Okay.
Although copper and lead zinc, as you know, are both at close to, if not historic heights. So it was nice to have.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for the education about how these things work, what the different, what you're looking for, and really exciting. I'm really excited to see what Reyna Silver does over the coming months. Sounds like you got some really exciting stuff in the works.
No, absolutely. Look, what we've done is put together a portfolio of properties. That's 3 of them, 2 in Mexico, 1 in Nevada, and and our focus is really looking for a large project that has high silver grade. And we really, if anybody has a time to look at Peter McGaw, who's our chief technical advisor,
Mm-hmm.
and the person leading our exploration, his track record is really incredible. He's done a number of major silver discoveries. So, I've always believed, being one of the main shareholders of the company as well, that you back exceptional teams, and then
Yeah.
you work as hard as possible and have the biggest chance of success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's what I hear from all the most successful ones is it comes down to the team. So makes a lot of sense. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, Jorge.
Thank you.
And looking forward to talking to you next time.
Absolutely. And thank you for giving us the opportunity.
My pleasure. I'll put those emails in the description below for anybody who is interested in getting a copy.
Great.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Take care.